So just so you know, there's a lesson of Westport, or a lesson from the citizens of your community and how they built the community. So this is looking previous to, this is your 1926 boundary. Not everything is net positive in this community, but as a ratio, it's a 1 to, let's call it 3 ratio of productivity. When you look at the outside area, outside of your 1926 boundary, you see how flat that is by comparison. The modern American suburban development pattern has this baked into it. But realize, if we look back at Country Club Plaza, that was a suburban development back in the day, but it had a different DNA. So if you did that, if you said, okay, well, what could you learn from Westport, downtown, and Country Club Plaza? What can we learn from Kansas City, and could we replicate it? Could we have it in different districts outside those areas, so you're not so dependent on that one spine floating everything? And this is just an overall question. How can you learn? Okay, so just to recap, you have these districts like Country Club Plaza, as well as Westport and downtown. They're all different scales of golden geese. Golden geese will produce golden eggs. They're awesome, but you've got to feed the goose. You've got to reinvest in those areas to keep them going, and they'll keep on contributing. That's the lesson of the forums that we see in Kansas City. So from here going forward, what are the takeaways? Well, realize that Old Westport is like, you could sell it and buy like 1.6 Patrick Mahomes. He's kind of expensive. He's a $45 million player, but that shows you the value of your community. So you're a leader in tax revenue production. When you look at it over time, the numbers show how you produce versus the city. Be proud of that, celebrate that, share this. This is information that shows how you succeed. And there are lessons here that should be applied citywide as well. You're growing faster than the city and your district. So again, the community needs to hear this. They need to see the data and learn from you all, and work with you on how to replicate some of this out in the community. You're behind on your infrastructure maintenance. This is something that needs to be turned around compared to other neighborhoods. There's an overall fairness question. Should you be at least average of the community? Yes, you're going to be more expensive because your roads are older and you have a higher density of roads, but on average, you should be at least what the city is from a maintenance standpoint, and you're definitely deserved a more pothole action. So this gets back to the feeding the goose standpoint. If you're going to be harvesting this revenue out of your community, keep it up to its maintenance level that it can handle. You're keeping up with other neighborhoods of similar typology. You're doing quite well in your neighborhoods, yet you receive less infrastructure investment, especially when compared to the city average. So that needs to be turned around. Hopefully this is enough data and enough evidence to help you make that case. And finally, learn from Westport. Your city and region should be learning from you all and taking these lessons and finding a way to harvest new growth opportunities in other areas. These won't be competitions, because they're going to be different neighborhood cores out in other areas, and it's going to be a surgery that they have to do. And finally, Westport's already productive on its own, but imagine how much more it could be with some reinvestment from the city. So your district as a whole is outperforming everything in the community. There should be some reinvestment back. You're very productive, and it shows in this model in the community. For those of you that are new to our work, I hope this wasn't too nerdy. We also have a lot of our work is covered on a blog called Strong Towns and in this book, if you want to share this with your friends. And thanks for letting us do some math.